Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am beyond thrilled to be here with you. This is a very, very special event for me, and I hope to be a special event for you as well. Um, Before I even introduce myself and tell you who I am, I just wanted you to get a sense of what Persian hospitality is like. Well, we typically don't serve gin and tonic as guests arrive, but there is a very classic Iranian drink called sharbat, and this sharbat that we made, which is essentially like a cordial, and this cordial is just outrageously unique, and that is it is a vinegar reduction with vinegar syrup reduction, and while the pan is exceptionally boiling hot, you drown a whole lot of fresh mint in there, and you infuse this sweet sour mint syrup. And then, of course, I love my gin and tonic, and I thought, oh, I wonder if these two can meet up and make a good drink, and so they did, and so here we are. So that's the beverage that you are consuming. There is gin in there. We had to clarify that last night. It was just going down very easy, and we wanted to make sure that you knew it was gin. And the other item that I wanted for you to have something to eat as we will continue to cook and talk and converse, something in your belly, and that is really not a dish. This is just something we always provide at our meals. We call this sabzi khordan. Sabzi are herbs, and khordan is the verb to eat. So it literally translates to come and eat some herbs. And for us, herbs are really much like vegetables. We don't use it as these decorative items on the side of the plate, but rather my grocery store knows when I'm cooking a Persian stew. It is 7, 8 bunches of parsley, 7, 8 bunches of dill and cilantro and so forth and so on. So for sabzi khordan, really mix and match. The choice of herbs are really up to you. Traditionally speaking, it is mint, basil, tarragon, parsley, cilantro, chives, often with walnuts, feta, radishes, cucumber if you like. And there's no rhyme or reason. You just tear a piece of bread as you have, and then you just make a little bunch. This very endearing term we use is loghme, which translates to a bite. So you make a bite of this and you enjoy it once, twice, 10 times, however many times you need to go back and enjoy. So that is how I wanted you to have an introduction to Persian food and Persian hospitality. Now, who am I? My name is Omid. I have lived in Seattle for 30 some odd years. I officially consider myself a Seattleite. If you've survived 32 winters of Seattle, you earned that right. I was born and raised in Tehran and left Iran as a teenager, but part of my association and excitement about Iran is my affinity toward the Caspian Sea. My parents are from that region, and so as a child I spent all my summers and all the holidays by the beach, doing what kids do at beach. You build sandcastles, you get yourself into trouble, you worry your parents that you've gone too far into the water, right? All the usual things that you would imagine. So when it came time for me to find a social media identity, I went around, tried different names, and it just wasn't fitting until one day it was like, oh, how about the Caspian Chef? It just was just so cutesy, unlike me. But it captured it all. So it's one that I'm just hoping that it won't get outdated, and it still is viable as my cooking journey carries on. So I'd like 3 people to just so graciously volunteer themselves. And I would like these onions finely diced. I don't care how you finely dice them, I just don't want them chunky. And this is gonna cook for an hour and a half, so your amazing dicing skills is not gonna show. I just want it finely diced, all right? While you dice your onion, I will start searing the chicken. So the dish that I'm going to be preparing is absolutely one of my favorites. It's a rice dish that has a side of a lighter chicken stew next to it. The dish is called havij polo. Polo is rice, havij is carrots. So take that literally. It's a rice that is layered with carrots and candied orange. with saffron, and then a chicken that is cooked in a tomato saffron sauce. So that is what we're going to be eating tonight. All right, so we got to start sauteing the chicken. So I'm going to turn my stove on, and the chicken has been patted dry so that it sautés a little easier. That moisture will, make it stick, particularly if you're not using a non-stick pan. I have one and one without. So we have a few pieces of chicken, and chicken, obviously the chicken skin has fat, so you need a little bit of oil so it doesn't stick to the pan. And as you sear the chicken, a lot of fat will be rendered. It is up to you what you want to do with that chicken fat. If that amount of chicken fat is too much, reduce it. Get rid of some of it. In a Persian home, we rarely toss that chicken fat out. It's just used into the stew. All right, the pan got really hot. I'm going to dial down the temperatures to buy myself a little time. And I'm using a neutral oil. For me, neutral oil is avocado. That's my go-to, but any oil that doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. Skin side down. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. And once you put it into the pan, just let it be. Really, just let it be. You will appreciate not having fussed with it and flip-flopped it. When it's fully seared on one side, well, it won't practically jump over by itself, but it's a lot easier to have it release itself, and we can sear on the other side. All right, so while the chicken is sauteing, I might as well get the onions to cook as well. I think a lot of cuisines adhere to this tradition of starting a dish with onion. Persian food is no different. I think it just takes it to the next level. We just love onion, and we find a way to put it in a lot of dishes. So sometimes when I'm cooking Persian food, I will saute a big batch of onions, do the classic Iranian treatment, which is turmeric. You always add turmeric to your onion, and then I will put it in a jar, keep it in the refrigerator, save myself 10, 15, 20 minutes every night. So obviously there is large quantity of food. I am making a 3-batch recipe. So each serving is a serving of 4. So I'm making about 12 servings so we can get a good amount of tasting of the dishes that we're going to make today. So if this looks like a lot of food, it is a lot of food. I want to make sure the pan is nice and warm. There are a few moving parts to this dish. All of this is going to be essentially one, but they're just different components of this dish. Now the pan is really hot. I'm going to dial the temperature down. Typically when we saute the onion, it is not just get it high and turn the flame high and get it to brown just as quick as you can, but rather you want to take 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes for it to just really develop flavor. It's not about just browning it, but it's about cooking it somewhat. And that takes time. Okay, I am definitely getting all kinds of aromas, which is my cue to stir and flip. So the onions are slowly coming together. The chicken is coming about. I think we got another 5 minutes and everything will be more or less ready on the chicken side of it. So while I still have the 5 minutes, I'll go back to the saffron. So here it is. This is the saffron thread. If you look at it really closely, I often, when I walk it around in the classroom and show people, it should look like a hair follicle. There should be a thicker end and a thinner end. That tells me it is indeed saffron. You can get lower quality saffron that doesn't have that. It's broken up. Because saffron is also graded based on the segments, the top end of it or the lower end of it. The further down you go, the color changes to orange and yellow. It is still saffron, but it just isn't as vibrant. So I look for something that looks precisely like that. So once you purchase your saffron, in an Iranian home, you will have one of these little gadgets, a mortar and pestle, a smooth surface, small mortar and pestle so that you can crush your saffron. We rarely, if ever, throw saffron as it is into the dish because for us, for me, it's sacrilegious. Like I just think you don't get as much flavor out of it. But when you crush it, it turns into a fine powder. Now you have a lot more surface area. And we don't often even stop at this place. There is one more step we will take it, and that is we bloom it with water. All right, I think everything is ready. I am wanting to move on to the next stage. So, little turmeric. Okay, you all need to be turned off. I don't know if this is a classic Persian approach, but it is certainly my approach. I don't just add tomato paste into the sauce. I actually toast the tomato paste. Much like you are toasting, sauteing the turmeric and or any other spices you would add, I like the idea of toasting the tomato paste because it actually intensifies that flavor. And who wouldn't want, if you're using some tomato paste, wouldn't you want a more intensified flavor of it? So that is what's going to go in here. Just a touch of tomato paste. This is, of course, all measured and accurate and scientific as a Persian mother would cook. And so I'm going to stay here just a minute or two to allow that tomato paste to get extra time on the fire. And then it's just a matter of assembly. My chicken, all of its juices and fat that has been extracted, I'm going to transfer to one pot. So as a matter of fact, I think what I'll do, I'll add the onions into this, add water, and call it good. And have that start cooking for about an hour and a half or so. In the meantime, I'm going to do a couple of things. I need to have a couple of pots of boiling water ready, and you'll quickly realize why. It's for the rice preparation while I work on the carrots. Okay? And there's some good stuff down at the bottom. I'm going to pick that up and use that as a way of pseudo washing the pot and picking up more flavor. So what's left to add? Salt, pepper. Okay, this is the chicken. Now, I talked about saffron, and this chicken is going to cook in saffron, but this is something for you to know about the use of spices. Turmeric is cheap. Turmeric is more about color, less about its flavor, whereas saffron is about color, flavor, and all the above. So in Persian food, saffron doesn't go at this stage. Saffron goes 70 minutes from now. Right before you're serving it, you cook it so that it doesn't sit there and simmer away, and the color will remain, but the aroma and flavor will just get diluted down. So we'll preserve the saffron for later, but I am going to use the saffron for the carrot bit in just a second. So this needs a lid, and it needs to start cooking. In the meantime, I have 2 pots of water that I need to bring to a boil while I get the carrots going, so bear with me as it's a bit of a juggling act to get everything set up. To give you 2 steps ahead of what's going to happen, I'm going to lightly saute the carrots, then add the candied orange piece. So I actually peeled 3 oranges and made essentially like a orange marmalade myself, right? So that's what this is. The carrots are going to get lightly sauteed. I'm going to add the orange. I'm going to add some saffron water to it, and that's going to push aside. When my rice is ready, Then I'm going to layer rice and carrot and rice and carrot and rice and carrot. And then when the chicken's ready, that's dinner. That's what we're having tonight. So give the carrots a wee bit of oil. And again, it's just to lightly soften the carrots. We're not cooking it because this carrot is going to get layered with the rice and cooked for 45 minutes. All right, I'm pushing the pan's capacity, but that is okay. It should be all right. So while that is doing its thing, I'm going to make sure all my pots are where they need to be because I do need those water boiling. My mother and folks of her generation, she would add her saffron and pour boiling water over it. The trendier, cool new kids are dropping an ice cube instead, which actually makes a lot more sense to me. When you think of green tea versus black tea, we drop the temperature so that you're not pouring boiling hot water over delicate green leaves. And talk about delicate, right? Nothing is more delicate than this tiny little filament of saffron. So you bloom it with an ice cube and it gently melts and it blooms the saffron into this gorgeous aromatic. I know, I know. So every time I teach, I say, I missed the boat on the cool, trendy, hip, new generation. So I'll just split the difference and use room temperature water, which speaks to my Libra characteristics. Like I'm going to please everybody. And this is what saffron looks like. This little water. So adding more water isn't necessarily going to make it better. You're just diluting it. Okay, this is done. I'm going to turn this off and bump the chicken up. The rice is on high as it can go, and there's the sugar and candied orange. This feels like you're eating a dessert, but it eats really savory because it's layered with rice, and the chicken is obviously going to be particularly savory. That's done. The chicken is cooking. And now we're waiting for the water to come to a boil. And that's perfect because we need to talk about rice. When you're cooking Iranian rice, keep saying to yourself, light and fluffy, light and fluffy, light and fluffy. That orients you what you do and more importantly, what you don't do. But to make rice light and fluffy, the first thing you need to do is to soak it. Minimum of 1 hour and up to about 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. This has been soaking for a few hours. All you need to do is take it to the sink, rinse it a couple of times. What you're washing is, do you know what that is? Starch, right. And what does starch do? Makes it sticky. What do we want with Iranian rice? Fluffy. See, it fixes itself. You just got to soak it, you got to rinse it, and then you're all right. So rinse it a couple of times. I think it will always be cloudy. You can spend here the next 35 minutes rinsing it. I don't know whose water is running clear. Mine has never run clear. So I'm just going to rinse it a couple of times and say, hallelujah. And the reason I have 2 pots of water is because I have a lot of rice. So this first part of cooking rice is going to look a lot like as if you are cooking pasta. You have a large pot of water. Make your Italian family proud, and please do salt your water that you cook your pasta, and do your Persian family pride by sufficiently salting the water for cooking the rice. We have very different relationship with salt. Some people like it, don't like it. There's health issues, so you take care of you. As a general guidelines that all things be the same, what I do is 1 tablespoon of salt per cup of uncooked rice. You're not eating that salt. This is just to cook the rice for 5 minutes. Then this is going to go into the sink and get drained and rinsed away. It will bring the flavor of the rice out and give you a hint of salt rather than feel like you're actually eating. This is about 6 cups of rice, so I'm going to put about 6 tablespoons of salt in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. While I'm at it, while I'm still waiting on all of this, let me taste the carrots and just kind of see with the sugar and saffron how yummy it has turned out. It is yummy. I mean, it's orangey, a little crunchy of a carrot, which is fine at this stage, but when you're serving it, this carrot should not be crunchy. And then, of course, the saffron. I love, and so if that is your love language as well, add your saffron, but if it isn't, just reduce the amount. Yep. So we have a little bit of rice to eat. I'm going to split it between the two pots just because they won't fit into one. So when you drop the rice in, obviously I'll drop the temperature down. Keep it on high, but keep a watchful eye because this, if you put a lid on, yes indeed, it will come to a boil faster, but much like your pasta, you blink, you look over, and there are people sitting nearby, and I don't want any of that business happening. So you would want it to come back to a boil. Once it's back to a boil, you're going to parboil it for about 5-6 minutes. What's going to happen in this process is this grain of rice that right now is a regular grain of rice. There's nothing particularly, that's just cracked in half, but nothing particular about it. But when it has parboiled for that 5-6 minutes, the grain really will elongate, particularly this brand, and I'll show you what it is now. And it'll be aromatic, and what you're checking for is, to borrow a term from our Italian cuisine, you're looking for al dente, right? Something that just has a little bite to it. And that's when you pick, carefully, pick this up, take it to the sink and strain it and rinse it, and then it will be ready for the next stage of cooking. So I'm going to put my strainer right into the sink so that when that's ready, I'll carry it over carefully and strain it. So as I'm waiting for this to come through, there is that word that I heard earlier, and that is tahdig. Tahdig is, it sounds so, I don't know, something, but tahdig is literally two Persian words stuck together. Ta is bottom, dig is pot. It's as exciting as it gets. That crispy layer on the bottom of the pan, that most people love crispy things on the bottom of the pan, I think, and that is literal translation, bottom of the pot. So to make tahdig delicious and tasty, you have to do certain things to it. I like to add saffron to mine, partially because it adds that, it adds this color to the bottom layer of the rice. Not essential, not necessary, but I always do every time I teach, and I wrote all the recipes for the rice to have the saffron layer on the bottom, because how I'm going to serve this, there's the saffron rice that is on the bottom, then there's layers of white rice and carrots, and it's going to cook for 45 minutes to get that bottom layer nice and crispy. And then we're going to flip it over. So obviously the back pot has come to a boil faster. I'm guessing that maybe in about a minute or so, it should be at the right level of doneness. So let me taste it now. Maybe it is, and that will give me a good head start while I wait for this one. Oh, do you see this? Do you see how nice and elongated that has become? If I pick some of these hot grains and put them on the pot, to show you how truly long grain they are. And that is why I love this. This is why I buy what I buy at home, and I was so thrilled to see it here as well. Dunar, a lot of West Asian markets carry it. There is also that big company downtown Seattle that sells everything. Starts with the letter A. They sell it too. All right, so this rice is strained. And I need my strainer for the other pot of rice. This is what I did with the other pan that maybe you didn't see. While the pan is still hot, I'm going to pour some water in there. It'll pick up whatever is left behind. It'll heat up the water, and it will allow me to rinse the rice to get the last bit of those pesky starches out of the way. You could eat this, right? You could absolutely eat this. It is cooked, but we're going to cook it for another 45 minutes, and you'll know why. You will experience why. All right. I would like one person to come up here and make tahdig with me. It's really fun. While you contemplate who that one person is going to be, I'm going to make myself some more saffron because I need saffron for my tahdig on the bottom there. So here's an example where you're going to cook it with saffron. There's no other way around it, right? And you can just follow what I do. I'm going to grab some delicious saffron. And so now you're going to mix some of this rice with the saffron. So all I'm looking for is putting enough oil in here, which is literally about 2-3 tablespoons. And when I have done this, all the bottom is lightly coated with oil. You just want a little bit of oil because oil is what makes tahdig that brittly, delicious crispiness, right? And this is how I pick up the rice. Lightly, right? We don't want to break these grains. So grab some rice, about a cup or so, and it's got the basmati rice flavor, and it has that saffron color and aroma, and that is what you will put in the bottom of the pan, but you need to first oil it.
Right.
Right?
A little bit.
A little bit. You can always add more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we just don't want a standing oil. You want the entire bottom covered. So now you have nicely oiled your pan. Now it seems like you want to transfer that gorgeous rice into the pot.
Gently, right?
Gently. I mean,
Gently,
it's
yeah.
always gentle. It's always gentle. So I'm just lightly pressing the rice. I'm not crushing it. I'm not battling with it. I'm just making it perfect round disc. So keep an eye on it. Half of this is going to go to this, half of it is going to go to the other one. So don't get it overly excited and dump it all in one pot. And now we will lightly add the rice and keep doing it until your carrots and rice are lightly mixed. The rest is transferring the rice into the pot. So I have 2 pots, and gently, notice how I add my rice. It falls into the pot rather than getting a big spatula and stirring it and breaking the grains down. Okay, the lid is on. There's one final thing you ought to do, and this is the Persian treatment. You find a clean towel, or if you're in a Persian home, you would already have a cloth, a circle with a elastic band that you slip the lid in there. So it would essentially look like this. And that is what you would put on top of the rice. This serves a couple of different purposes. It maintains that precious little moisture that is in the pan, right? There was just some of that syrup. There's carrots have some moisture. As it cooks, it starts steaming, and particularly with these lids that have a little hole, you're not allowing the steam to escape the pot. So this keeps it, and we truly steam the rice. And another purpose it serves is, as it cooks, the steam rises and it then forms condensation against the lid, and as it cools, it drips back down. We want to avoid that. We want to have the towel to maintain it. This cooks for 45 minutes. You will cook this on medium-low, whatever that translates on your stove, and that's the tricky part. I wanted to pair this meal with a salad. And what better salad than a very classic Iranian salad that I think is just much like the platter of herbs. It's omnipresent. To us, this is just a very traditional classic salad, and it isn't anything extraordinary. It is just a tomato cucumber salad. The name of this salad in Persian pronunciation is salad Shirazi. Salad is salad, and Shiraz is a beautiful city in central Iran. I like it to be on the smaller dice rather than on the larger side. If I was to demonstrate, maybe that would be a good thing. That's a little too big, so I'll work on this one. And even with these, if you're not happy with the amount of seeds, watery flesh that is in there, you decide what you want to do with it. I don't know. I probably could have cut it smaller. So that is what I would typically do. And the same with tomatoes. Winter tomatoes are winter tomatoes, right? No matter how you slice and dice it, it is just, I don't know, sometimes they have color, sometimes they have flavor, often they're missing both. um, when in a stew, I'd much rather use a canned tomato than use fresh tomato. But that is the tomato we're going to use, and you would do much the same. As you slice into it, you will notice there will be seeds and membranes and all those things, and you would want to remove the things that they're not really going to add to the salad. Put those aside and dice this as small as your cucumber. So that is the cucumber and tomato. To this, most folks add a red onion. Some folks like spring onion. You decide what you prefer. For the book, I decided to stay with red onion, so you would treat the red onion much the same. That amount of onion I think is too much, so I'm going to just use half of that red onion because it's onion. And lastly, the dressing for this. And that is a point of debate amongst Iranians. What do you put in that Salad Shirazi dressing? I like a dressing in a way that I got trained to make a dressing with oil. More traditionally speaking, this salad doesn't have oil in it. It's just the acidic part, which is very unique. I'll tell you what that is. Salt, pepper, and the primary seasoning is dried mint. And you think, dried mint? Why would you use fresh mint? Fresh mint is so amazing and so fresh and lovely, and it is absolutely true. We love fresh mint, and we use a lot of it. But we also have such a developed a palate for dried mint, and if you're not familiar with it, it is a powerhouse of a flavor. And so if you made this salad with fresh mint, I'm like, this is lovely, this is tasty. It's not Salad Shirazi, right? We have a few cucumbers. I don't think we need to, well, I don't know, how hungry are you? We can cook them all, dice them all. I know we don't have enough rice tonight, so. Thank you folks for coming up and helping with the dicing of the tomatoes and cucumbers and the onions. So the salad is prepared. All we need to do is make the dressing, and the dressing is as simple as mixing 3-4 ingredients. The liquid that we're going to use here, and this is another one of those deliciously Iranian things to do. We call this ab gure. Ab is water, gure is unripe grapes. So think of this as Welch's grape juice, except very sour. It's unripe grapes that are harvested and juiced. Generally speaking, the more classic way of making a dressing is more olive oil, less vinegar. So it's maybe 1 cup olive oil, you put half a cup of vinegar. And then often people are surprised how much salt they really should put into their dressing, because you're not just, your dressing should taste salty because you are dressing a lot of food rather than just sitting there eating the dressing. So keep things like that in mind. Today I'm going to go equal portions of olive oil to this. This is not as strong, so I'm happy to put half and half, more or less. And of course, salt. When you make this salad, it is much like we're doing right now. It is best to dress it right before you serve it. This is acid and salt on meticulously cut vegetables, right? It'll turn to soup by tomorrow. I'm exaggerating, but this is not one that you should make extra. You can dice it, cover it in an airtight container, and then pour the dressing over it when you need to serve it. Dried mint, some of you guys came and smelled it. If you haven't, it's dried mint. It's just powerful. It's really powerful. So there's that. I think the only thing I need is pepper. And there you go. I mean, there's a lot of vegetables here. And give it a good whisk. My favorite way of mixing is putting it in a jar and shaking it. And that is just the easiest, quickest, tidiest way to do so. Or if you have a large measuring cup, that will also do the trick. You know, I'm going to taste it because that's what we do. We taste our food. We just don't assume. Surprisingly, this is not coming through as sour. I'm going to just add a wee bit more. And then I may or may not use all of this dressing. I'll start, toss. I'm not coming back tomorrow, so what am I doing otherwise? All right. There's just something so beautiful about that red and green representing so many flags of the world, including Iran's flag. All right, so this is ready. The chicken is also ready. I cut the pieces into smaller pieces so that everybody gets a good sampling of it. And that I'm going to put over here. And last but not least is the rice. We got to flip the rice. Oh boy, is it asphalt? Is it delicious? Is it what? We'll find out, right? And while also you were on break, I added saffron water to this. That's the only thing I added to this broth. Right. Okay. We have that done. One thing I didn't mention to you that I like to re-emphasize now, when the rice is cooking, you covered it with a towel, so don't lift the towel. There's really no reason for you to lift the towel halfway through, a third of the way through. If you're really curious what's happening, take a picture of it before you put the lid on. It will look exactly the same. Like, it looks exactly the same. Lifting it, all it does, it allows the moisture that you want to maintain inside the pot. And you know, if you lift the lid quickly, it's not the end of the world, nothing will happen. But the thing that I would have a really big issue with is if you lift the lid and got tempted to stir it. That we will break up. Right? That's a breakup call. Because mixing it will crush the grain. And also, as rice is cooking, it naturally finds a flow to come up. And as you stir it, you're actually collapsing it more, making it denser. And so the steam isn't as well distributed. So just don't tempt yourself. So one thing I actually want to do to demonstrate real quick is give you a slow motion of it so that you know what it is I'm about to do. Pretend this is that. So this is your cooked pot of rice. You invert a plate over your pot. It will never be the exact perfect fit. What you're hoping to do is you tuck your fingers into the handles and you're holding the plate with your thumbs, right? So you're securing the plate. Wow, this is heavy. Hence why I downsize and I do 4 of these pots. So motion of it is really obviously exaggerated. No one ever does it like this, but this is how I like for you to remember it. You do need to lift it up to about chest level. The reason so, if you don't bring it up high enough, this needs to get turned around. I've seen what people trying to bring it up here, and then trying to flip it, and there's not enough range of motion. And all along, this rice is, I don't know what's happening inside this rice. Bring it up to your chest level, and then you flip it, still holding it secure. Soften your knees like a squat at the gym, and then release and come up. Don't be in a rush to flip it and lift the pot up, because rice could spill everywhere. And I say all of this because I've seen it all. So once it's flipped over, then you slowly lift the pot and reveal what is inside, whatever may be inside. All right. I was hoping to have you do it, but since these are large pots, I will do it, and you will just have to practice at home with smaller size containers, or you will not be cooking 6 cups of rice, I hope. All right, here we go. I have no idea. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. You heard? Okay. Here we go. For better or for worse. So we got a little extra crunchy. That'll be mine, and then you'll get around it. Okay. And now we do the second one. All right, you saw it once. Second time will be a repeat. Okay, bring it down, slowly release, and then gently lift. There we are. We have 2 pots. I hope we have enough rice tonight. This saffron tahdig is a thing I like to do. If my mom was making this, this would have been the rice and carrot right on the bottom. So she wouldn't have separated an extra layer. But I just like to talk about saffron. I just like to demonstrate the saffron tahdig all on its own. So know that there are just so many variations, and I put quite a few of options. There's the potato tahdig, there's the turmeric tahdig, there's saffron tahdig, and so have fun. It's just rice after all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'd say, what is there to do but to invite you to share a meal. So here's how Iranians would invite you to their home and to their dining table. It's a very ancient, symbolic, ritualistic to the nth degree culture. And so we would say, to invite you in, we would say, befarmayid. It's a call to arrive. Please arrive, please enter to the dining room, to the house, wherever it may be. So befarmayid is a call to arrive and come. And then, as you saw in your books as I signed, to invite people to start eating, the equivalent of bon appetit is Nusha Jan, which translates to may your soul be nourished. Bon appetit. So may your soul be nourished. I am so happy with what we created today. Thank you for all your help. I have to say, Cindy, where are you? Thank you. This has been such a joy. Thank you. So all that aside, let's eat.